We started off class today with all of you reading the comments that I wrote to you about your Chapter 3 project, and you read them and tried to digest what you did well and what you need to improve on. And then you went to your Chapter 3 blog post on your WordPress blog and you read those comments. And then what I had you do was, from reading my comments, do you know what to do better next time? So you needed to reply to my comment and write down at least one suggestion for your Chapter 4 project. What's one suggestion I gave you to make your next project from Chapter 4 better? And then in your blog post, hit reply to my comment. And again, what is one suggestion that you could apply to your next Chapter 4 blog post? And you literally reply to my comments and tell what you're going to do better next time. So I think all of you finished that in class. Okay, then I showcased a few projects. These were different presentation tools, ThingLink and TAC and Prezi and either TAC or some more. And you guys can just go to these and right click on our blog roll on the class blog and you can see their project. So if you weren't here or if you were busy finishing up your replies, just compare what you did to their work and see what they did that you can learn from to do a better and more thorough job on your project in Chapter 4. Today was a problem-solving day, so we practiced the 4 steps of problem solving, and then we did a new problem-solving blog post in your Math 6 blog. So let you remember you had to categorize it Math 6. So the first thing I had you do in class today was to write down the 4 steps of problem solving from memory. And if you were stuck, you had to ask somebody for help. And pretty much between all of you working together, you came up with the 4 steps. So the first step in problem solving is always understand the problem. And when you understand the problem, you literally write down the key information and write down what's being asked. Step 2 is to devise a strategy, make a plan. What kind of problem-solving tool are you going to use to help you with this problem? And step 3 is you carry out your plan. Carry out the plan and do what you said you were going to do. And then step 4 is always look back and check that your answer makes sense. So the problem we did for practice today is right here. The sum of two numbers is 108. One number is twice as large as the other. What are the two numbers? Well, some people suggest to just blank plus blank equals 108. And you can see visually I'm looking for two numbers that add up to 108. Another key fact is that one number is twice the other. Some people instead wrote the sum of two numbers equals 108. And the question is, what are the two numbers? So you can bullet this information in your own style. You can use symbols, you can use words, you can use a combination thereof, but somehow get down the key facts and what the question is asking. Okay, some different strategies you guys came up with were to guess and check, and I showed you how we could act it out with a toothpick, and actually acting it out with a toothpick led to us writing an equation. So we actually wrote all of these down and practiced all of them. So when you make a guess and check table, it's really easy. You guess the smaller number, we doubled it to get the next number, we add them to get the sum, and then we check, is it 108 or too low or too big? So the first guess was 20, so if that's the small number, the bigger number is twice as big or 40. 20 and 40 is 60, and 60 is too low. It's less than 108, so I draw a down arrow to show it's too low. So if that's too low, we tried 30. 30 doubled is 60. That's the big number. Add the small and the big, we get 90, and again, it's too low. So we tried 35. 35 is the small number. We double it and get 70. We add them and get 105, and it's too low, but we're very close. We're only 3 short. So someone suggested, let's just try 36. We doubled it and got 72, and we add these two, we get right on 108. Okay, another way to do this problem is I showed you, I said let's represent the problem with a toothpick. So I had a toothpick and we just represented the problem with a toothpick. So if this is the small number, this is just the small number, let me get a pen here. Okay, this is the small number. And if that's the small number, my big number is 2 of them, because I told you that the big number was twice the small number. So if the small toothpick if one toothpick is a small number, the big number is 2 toothpicks because it's twice the small number, big number. And if we add these together, the 3 toothpicks total 108. Hard to write with this mouse pad. Well, in Chapter 2, you learned if we don't know what a number is, we can represent it with an n, a variable. And just like we have 1, 2, 3 toothpicks equal to 108, 3 n's equal 108. And when I asked you, how do we figure out what number times 3 is 108, most of you knew. Just divide 108 by 3. And if we do that, we get that n is 36. And n is the small number, so we double it and get the big number, and we get 72. Notice we get the same answer from our guess and check table, but it is a little bit more efficient in that it doesn't take nearly as many steps. With this, we can just solve it pretty quickly. And then step 4 is to look back and to prove it. So I want to prove that 72 is twice as big as 36. I divide 72 by 2 and I get 36. And then I need to prove that they add up to 108, and I add them and I get 108. I've looked back. I know my answer's right. So that was our practice one. So this is the one that you did most of it in class. Most of you almost got to being finished, so you just need to finish this one for homework. So in your problem-solving blog post, you have to show all 4 steps, label each step, and explain how you did step 4. So this is the problem you solved. A ball rebounds 1/2 of the height from which it's dropped. The ball is dropped from the top of an apartment building in Sochi at a height of 256, and it keeps on bouncing. How far will the ball have traveled when it strikes the ground for the 9th time? So as a class, you wrote step 1, understand the problem, and you guys bulleted the key information that the ball bounces up half as much from the height it dropped, and that it begins 256 feet in the air. And then the question is, how far will the ball have traveled when it strikes the ground the 9th time? That's pretty important. And then step 2, make a plan. So we brainstormed ideas, and you guys, I said, how can you visually see the path of the ball? And you all knew. This is the best strategy for this is to make a sketch or draw a diagram. And that's what you did. And then I came around, and when you finished your sketch, I actually took photos with my camera, and I posted them in our 3rd quarter class photos. The webcams weren't getting a good enough picture. It was too fuzzy. So I used my good camera, and the photos are there. So you use this sketch or diagram to visualize the problem. If you want to see the way different people sketch them, go to our 3rd quarter photo album. You can get to it from the top of Moodle, and there are several visual pictures of carrying out the plan and solving the problem. And then you continued on, and you had to finish all the 4 steps. When you finished, I wanted to see it, and pretty much most of you almost finished through step 4. So step 4, you need to look back and tell how you know your answer's right. When you look at your sketch, did each bounce, did each number, was it each time it bounced, was each number you wrote in your sketch half as much as the bounce before? And did you do your addition correctly, and does your answer make sense? And that's it.